Hi Aquarius, welcome to your early September 2021 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. There's your full moon, right? The heart of the matter is the Strength card, and this is a card associated with your opposite sign of Leo. The Strength card can mean that you have been through something and you are coming out of the other side of it. You are beginning to gain a sense of yourself through that challenge and becoming more confident, becoming more of who you are. Endurance, maybe even physical. If you've come through some kind of illness, your immune system is building up perhaps. You just feel like you're on the upswing and the momentum is on your side, whatever this situation is. And I think of that song by Chicago, getting stronger every day. In the past position, the Tower card may have thrown you for a loop, something unexpected, something maybe feared, like it wasn't completely off the radar, but you were not wanting to deal with something and the universe forced you to deal with it. And you're just kind of like, well, how do I handle this? And I'm trying to think an example would be if you did have some sort of relationship issue around the time of July or August with those back-to-back full moons in your 7th house. You may have already known that you had marital problems and you chose to stick your head in the sand, and something occurred that forced you to look at what was going on. But in the case of how I feel that particular area might have shaken out, I don't know how you say it, is that you may have realized that you were deserving of more, because full moons can bring secrets to the surface. And because this fell in your 7th house, and this is the house of partnership, you may have had 2 months in a row of these triggers. The first full moon might have made you aware of some of the details, but then there had to be this confrontation or this final aha moment, because Aquarius is not by nature a jealous sign. So if your partner, for instance, was going outside of the relationship, you might have been in denial, but it's not the same thing as some other sign that is like, oh God, it can't possibly be true, because it would just be a nightmare for that person. It's for you, it's just more of a situation where you're like, I really don't want this situation, because I realize how it impacts me adversely, and I'm not even, consciously aware of it, because you're almost like kind of tolerant of it, so you don't realize how hard it's hitting you. And really, to me, it is about that self-esteem. And the Strength card hits home what this is, what it's all about, where you realize I have to stop being so accepting of other people because it's really hurting me. And for Sun in Aquarius people, you may have Venus in Pisces or Mars in Pisces, and you have this, but especially with Venus in Pisces, when it comes to relationships, you might have a sacrificial quality about yourself. And, or even a distorted view of love, that love is automatically about being in, experiencing pain. And these kinds of misinterpretations can lead to, situations where you tolerate the intolerable. The higher message is the Six of Swords, which is choosing peace over the drama and moving away from that drama. This is a card that is associated with even, physical relocation. Oops, I dropped one of my cards. So moving, and that for some people, when they are in a problematic relationship, that's one of the things when they're very serious about putting a relationship behind them that they do, is they just up and move, and they kind of start fresh somewhere else, because they really don't want to run into that person at the local hardware store. They just want to have a new life, and they're not looking for reasons to be around that individual. And really the Tower card is a blessing, because it releases you from the bondage of a situation that you could not leave on your own. You might have tried, you might have wanted to, but you just couldn't do it, and so the universe did it for you. But the question is, are you going to accept that decision, or are you going to try to cling to it, to a relationship that is kaput? Another thing too that I wanted to bring up is that with the Strength card is that when people start to practice self-love, in my mind I just thought radical self-love, because I've heard that buzzword, or that buzz term recently, practicing radical self-love. And I don't know exactly what they mean by radical, but definitely maybe making no apologies for, making sure that you're always feeling comfortable in whatever it is that you're doing. But what happens is, the more that you feel good about yourself, the higher your vibe is, and the higher your vibe is, the more that people that do not meet that will fall away from your life. It's really, and that can definitely happen. I think that that's happened to me too. It's like, you don't have to have some kind of awkward or unpleasant confrontation with them. They will just feel, it's like they will feel repelled to you, because you represent something, your frequency is too high for them to understand or to appreciate. So I think that that's another great reason for people to honor themselves and, be on their spiritual path. What crosses you is the Five of Swords. This can be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, who is not a not somebody who is on your side. Just in general, this can be slander, backbiting. If you have been recovering with the Strength card from somebody who is a narcissist, that person may engage in a smear campaign against you, and you have to be willing to accept that and not fear it and not shy away from it, because that person may be trying to turn mutual friends against you so that you're kind of the outcast. By the same token, as the Six of Swords states, you want to be above the fray. So you don't want to get caught up in their little games. And that person's games, maybe with other people. Sometimes other people like being the confidant, even though they're not really. That person may tell them things and act like they're the only ones that they're telling, when in fact they're telling everybody they can get their hands on. And really that can be a ploy to keep you, connected to them in some way. You don't have to get into the mud with these people, especially if other people seem to be all too willing to believe it. What's coming in? The Nine of Wands. You can see the person has a wary expression on their face. They're sensing that they're about to receive some kind of, you could say like an attack, but it's really, it could be an invasion. And we do have a Mercury retrograde at the end of the month, so that's a prime time for exes to come back into the picture. If that's what this is, you may be recovering from some kind of shock to the system that was perpetrated by somebody, and then they want to come back into the picture. They may have just ghosted you and left you to pick up the pieces, and you never saw it coming. I think the Five of Swords can also be saying you don't know who you're dealing with in terms of friends. Maybe your friends are not who you think that they are. I don't want to, get too paranoid. You would kind of sense that. You're very intuitive. And this may be the time when it really becomes obvious who your friends are. But it's always good to have boundaries, to have a game plan. If somebody tries to worm their way back into your life, that you are very clear on what you accept. If this is somebody who didn't have the courtesy to tell you why they were leaving, you have to decide whether that is acceptable behavior and acceptable treatment. The outcome is the King of Cups. This can be a healer of some sort. On the more mundane level, it can be like a therapist, but it can also be like a minister, a priest, a rabbi, a spiritual advisor that you turn to. This can be a mature water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, who is in your life, is around you, and cares about you. The king can be a father or father figure, but somebody who has your back, who you can talk to, or if this is a romantic figure, who really cares about you. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.